people are more capable than they think. But growth requires some discomfort. What I've learned is you don't need to feel ready before stepping out. It's just like babies when they are learning how to walk.
So, hi everyone, welcome back to Identity and Impact. Over the past few weeks, I've been sharing reflections on what I call the Alex principles: aspire, lead, empower, excel. But today, rather than talking about the framework itself, I wanted to explore what these principles actually look like in someone's real career journey. And joining me today is someone I've had the privilege of working with closely over the last few years. She's about to step into a larger role and earned a well-deserved promotion. And one of the things she just shared with me afterward getting the promotion really stayed with me. She said she felt confident in pursuing the opportunity because she felt she had been intentionally prepared for it over a long time. So today, I wanted to explore that journey. So let's welcome Linda Lian.
Hello, everyone. I'm Linda. Thank you, Alex. Happy to be here. Honestly, it's a little strange hearing my career discussed perfectly.
No, so don't worry, Linda. We'll keep this very conversational, just as if we're talking in our normal meetings on a regular basis. So no worries. But let's start at the beginning, Linda. So if you look back when you first joined the team, what did success look like for you? Did you had an aspiration for a larger leadership role at that time? Or were you more focused on simply doing the job offered to you?
Oh, when I first joined, success was really about delivering well and building credibility. The focus back then was really on understanding the business, especially the operational side, and making sure I could execute consistently. At that stage, I wasn't thinking about bigger roles yet. There were just too much day-to-day priorities. But once I felt more grounded, I looked at the data and I spot trends. Then I asked myself how I could add more value beyond my immediate scope. That's when my definition of success began to evolve.
Oh, that's great, Linda. And it's typical. It's that's a typical thing actually, right? Like most people would first focus on the job given to them, and but later on hopefully evolve to a bigger aspiration. So one thing I've observed, Linda, is that many people unintentionally actually limit themselves, not because they lack capability, but because they haven't yet been exposed to what's possible. Again, in your journey looking back, was there a moment where your aspirations became bigger than what they were originally were?
There was definitely a shift at some point, right? I moved from focusing on daily own responsibilities to thinking more about overall impact, what can be done better. That came from being exposed to more complex challenges and working with different teams. You just have new mindset altogether. And seeing how decisions at a higher level shape outcomes made me realize I wanted more to contribute strategically, not just execution. That's when I started aiming to influence direction and not just delivery.
Oh, that's lovely. So exposure gave you aspiration. So, but do you think leaders or other people play a role in expanding people's aspirations, like particularly in your case? Because for me, sometimes people see potential in us before we actually see it ourselves.
Ye- Absolutely. I think leaders play a huge role. I had moments where encouragement from leaders really helped me aim higher and stay focused. I'm so blessed to have met good leaders along the way that they don't just guide. They build belief. They believe in you. For example, when I feel I'm not there, my leaders would quote and reminded me that, oh, I had handled more complex scenarios. They are more confident than me, then that the next challenge is nothing. It's nothing. So While they push you out of the comfort zone, they also give you ownership and help you see potential that you yourself might not fully recognize. So, in many ways, leadership is about expanding someone's field of vision, helping them see what's possible beyond their current role.
Oh, that's interesting and that's lovely. And you're lucky that you've been exposed to such leaders exposing you to bigger things. And that's really interesting, right? One of the things that I've been talking about in what I call the Alex principle is aspire principle. Uh, and that people rarely really grow beyond the size of the vision they allow themselves to pursue. So, looking back, what would you say to someone who may be underestimating their own potential today?
I'll say most people are more capable than they think, but growth requires some discomfort. What I've learned is you don't need to feel ready before stepping out. It's just like babies when they are learning how to walk, they don't mind falling, and they go bumpy along the way. They are never afraid. And you grow through experience, not before it. So always stay curious, take on more challenges, and trust that you will grow into the role.
Oh, that's again interesting, Linda. As you've said, growth requires being uncomfortable. Be curious and take bigger challenges. And you probably would remember I've said this also several times in probably in or one-on-one or other meetings. I've always said that aim for the star so that if you don't go to the star but you land on the moon, at least you move from the earth to the moon. Anyhow, moving on, Linda. One thing that also fascinates me is that many people think leadership starts when you get promoted. I don't believe that. I think leadership starts long before title changes. So, what did leadership mean to you before you became a people leader?
Leadership to me was never about title. It's always been about ownership and influence. Even before becoming a people leader, it meant, in my opinion, taking accountability beyond my role and being someone that others could rely on always and consistently. And stepping out, take the first step to step out when things were unclear. I always seen leadership as how you show up, regardless of your title.
Oh, that's lovely. You don't need to have the title nor people directly reporting to you to show that you're a leader yourself. Okay. Were there moments though where you found yourself leading without authority? Like, can you give us examples of those situations?
Eh, many times we have to start leading without authority, and it's very natural. For I had to stakeholders of different priorities, and I have to drive initiative without formal authority. But most importantly, let's focus on influencing decisions through clarity, clear communications, right? Those experience taught me that leadership is really not about authority, it's about credibility. And when you talk logic and you communicate clearly, you build trust. So I really think that, leading without authority is a norm.
Okay. So, to paraphrase what you've said, influencing others, helping get alignment in itself is leadership. So, you don't need to be a leader managing people to be a true leader in that sense. Okay, great. The other thing I talk openly about, Linda, is receiving feedback, particularly around executive presence and how I had to learn to separate style from substance. Have you ever experienced moments where you question yourself as a leader?
Definitely, I still experience it times. But I always think that self-doubt is part of growth. It's also like a part of a self-reflection, right? You reflect and then you grow. Especially when stepping into something new, I also question whether I was communicating effectively or whether my style was correct. But over time, I learned to stay focused on the impact Then I refined how I show up. Separating substance from style actually make a big difference.
Oh, that's great. What helped you build those confidence though? Like I know you've said like there are moments you have self-doubt, but what helped you build the confidence in the end?
Oh, it was a combination of several factors, right? Like experience helps me build resilience.
Okay.
The results reinforce, like let's do it, give you more confidence. And of course, the constructive feedback that was given helped me improve. So it was a lot of a combination. Last but not least, not forgetting the leaders and mentors that they support along the journey. It made a huge difference, right? So my confidence didn't come overnight. It was built gradually through consistent learning and reflection.
Okay, great. It's really then actual experience. Just continue trying it out. You have mentors also helping you. Uh, and eventually that led to you growing your self-confidence. Another question then, Linda, what do you think people misunderstand though about leadership?
One misconception is that people always think leaders needs to have all the answers. Let's face it, in reality, it's not the case, right? Leader is really about asking the right questions, creating clarity for others, and enabling others to succeed.
Mhm.
So leadership is really less about control and more about influence and alignment.
Okay. Shifting gears now, you've also heard me talk about one of the Alex principle is empower. And this is probably the principle that means the most to me personally. And one thing I've always believed is that leadership eventually becomes less about your own contribution and more about how many people you help grow. You recently told me that you felt prepared when this new opportunity came along. Can you talk more about that?
I felt prepared because the journey was gradual and intentional. It's not overnight, it's intentional and gradual, like I mentioned. Over time, I was given enough opportunities to take on broader responsibilities. And of course, I have to put in effort to work through the complexity, influence, and give suggestions, right? So I built confidence along the way in terms of decision making. So when the opportunity came, it didn't feel sudden. It felt very natural that the next step is something that I can take on blissfully.
Okay. Were there specific moments then when you realized that you are being prepared for bigger opportunity? Like what were those moments?
Yes, looking back, there were very clear moments, right? Being trusted in high visibility work, being included in broader discussions and decision making role, and receiving feedbacks pushed me to think more strategically. I had opportunities previously when, in order to do, portfolio A, I had to be involved in portfolio B. Those moments very stretching, very tedious, but they're actually preparing me for more. So when I have to launch portfolio C, the experience that I gained from A and B has set me up for success already, easy peasy. So in addition, it's not short-term preparation, it is a journey of development and aspiration, empowerment along the journey.
So you've talked about this a bit already, but can you expand then? You mentioned about you being given stretch assignments. So those experiences, if you can expound, they did feel initially uncomfortable, but later turned out important factor for your growth?
Absolutely. So valuable experience were the one actually initially felt uncomfortable. For instance, right, I had to take on situations with ambiguity. There are so many moving market conditions. There are so many, or in our terms, we say the goalpost is moving. So I have to align them and make sure our stakeholders' expectations are being managed well. And stakeholders have their own priorities. Different stakeholders are looking at different priorities. So I have to align so that we are looking at the same destination. right? And sometimes, even though I'm in the industry for a few years, I turn to be young here. I'm still in a situation that I am leading new initiatives for the first time. That is always a first time for everything, right? So reflecting on the right framework, the right mindset, the experience that I have gathered prior has helped me build resilience, adaptability, and confidence, which I don't think could have developed without going through all this.
Okay. Like experiencing things for the first time is uncomfortable, but once you've done it, to your point, it gave you better resilience, it gave you better learning, and in the end, when you reflected, it contributed to your growth. So that's great and that's lovely. One thing that I often also say, right, especially I step in a new team, I always ask people who wants to develop to potentially replace me in my role. And my time frame all the time is to have a successor in 18 months to probably at the most 36 months. So what do you think organizations gain when leaders actively prepare successors?
Firstly, I want to say Alex never fails to amaze me, right? Like, it is indeed true that you keep telling people that you're building successes for tomorrow. So that impressed me also. It also tells me a lot, right? Like, organizations benefit a lot when the leaders develop their successes. It builds like strong leadership pipelines, ensure continuity, and creates a culture of growth. So for passionate talents, I feel that I am invested. I'm being invested in, right? And that naturally drives my engagement level and then performance.
Okay. Have you been in organizations or have you seen instances when leaders were not doing this? They're not intentionally preparing successors. And what happened in those situations?
I do see that, but when leaders don't do this, right, it creates gaps. And then we start to see an over reliance on individuals. It actually slows down the progress of succession, right? And then in turn, it is fewer opportunities for others. So in the long term, development isn't optional. It is essential for sustainability.
Okay. So if a leader does not actually work out and develop successors, you're saying it will just delay progress, not just for that leader, but for the entire team and the individuals in that team. Okay. Let's move on then from empowerment to execution. So people who work with me, including yourself, really know that I love data, I love metrics, right? Uh, and probably too much.
Yeah.
And one thing I always say also is that what you cannot measure, you cannot achieve. And my other famous line is progression over perfection. How have you experienced that operational excellence mindset in the teams you work in?
Hmm. I experience it as a balance between structure and practicality. Clear matrix create transparency and alignment, but equally important is the mindset of progress over perfection. It's about continuous improving rather than just waiting for all the stars to be aligned before launch. Yeah, so it is a balance of both.
We know people though, and actually I would probably say a lot would who are pursuing excellence are actually trying to pursue perfection. Do you think then there's a misunderstanding around excellence and perfection?
Yes, definitely. I think excellence is often being mistaken for perfection, but they are not the same. Excellence is about consistency and continuous improvement,
Mhm.
right? But perfection, on the other hand, can slow things down. I've seen situations where we delayed important execution because everything wasn't fully aligned yet. And in doing so, we missed out golden opportunities to support business needs, sometimes ending up with more manual work as a result. So true excellence is about delivering quality outcomes sustainably over time.
Yeah, and the two of us can probably pick a lot of examples where one, we were both pursuing excellence and we ended up realizing it's already long and we haven't delivered anything. But there were also instances where we've done great, where we were more agile, we were just experimenting and just proceeding. We failed fast, but we also learned fast, and we realized we've achieved more in a short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if excellence is not perfection, what we should advocate for is sustainable excellence. What does sustainable excellence means to you today?
To me, sustainable excellence means consistently delivering strong results in a way that's repeatable and doesn't burn people out.
Okay.
It's about balancing performance with long term sustainability through clear priorities, strong processes, and enabling our team to succeed over time.
Mm-hmm. Great. So if I hear you right, you said we need to deliver strong results, but recognizing those strong results will be delivered over time, so we don't also contribute to the burnout of people. That for you is sustainable excellence. So thank you for those insights, Linda. Now let's test your uh, wit. We'll move to what I call the rapid fire round. So I'll give you one word, or I'll give you some questions, but I need you to respond quickly with one word or at least short answers. So this is testing your another leadership skill, which is thinking on your feet, as they say. Okay. Biggest career lesson.
Embracing differences.
Okay. Best advice you've ever received.
Listening is more important than speaking.
Okay. A leadership quality you admire most.
I'm in HR, so it's humanity,
A skill future leaders must develop.
communication.
One thing you wish you knew earlier in your career.
It's always okay to say no.
Yes, and I believe that also, that one of the things that leaders should learn is actually learn to say no. It's not yes all the time. Which Alex principle challenged you the most?
Honestly, all of them. Let's look at the Alex principle, right? Aspire, lead, empower, and excel. All of them challenge me, right? But I think if I have to pick one, it would be aspire. Because it pushed me to think beyond my immediate role and see a bigger vision for myself.
Yes, and when you look at the Alex principle, it started with aspire, because really that's key. So if people learn to actually aspire, set the right vision, set the right goals and ambition, it would unlock the others eventually. So anyhow, thank you for spending your uh about 30 minutes of your time with me, Linda. This has been a very fruitful and fun discussion, and one of the most rewarding parts of leadership is seeing people step into opportunities they've worked hard for or prepared for, right? And honestly, your journey reinforced something I believed for a long time, which is growth is rarely accidental. It happens when aspiration, leadership, empowerment, and excellence come together consistently over time. And you've spoke a lot about consistency over time. So thank you for joining me today. And to everyone listening, over the coming weeks, Identity and Impact will continue to explore practical frameworks, leadership lessons, and real stories from leaders who are creating meaningful impact, like Linda, in their organizations and even in their communities. So if today's conversation resonated with you, I invite all of you to join the circle and continue the journey with us, because meaningful impact is rarely built alone. So until next time, again, thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Alex. It's my honor.
Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.